Alright, not wasting any time. Jumping back into Far Lands or Bust on this here Sunday, January 26th, 2025. It's technically good, which is the opposite of what that Star Trek Section 31 movie was. But we'll get to that in a minute. We left off at 73,143, 3.4 megabytes on the world save. And if you've got your woofs ready, then I'm ready to continue. Woof! Wolfie's finally ready. I forgot about the waterfall too, but here we are. Refreshed, moisturized, hydrated, and ready to continue walking to the far lands here in Minecraft Beta 173. That's a good screenshot right there. As we do. As we do. Whoa, that's a guy. That is a guy, isn't he? Guess what? I've got more stories. Stories. Tales, even. Tales of awkward interactions in the world. From Kurt J. Mac? Never. Would have never imagined such things as these. Oh, man. No, I was not given spare change. I was not aggressively hugged from behind, mistakenly by a random stranger. What other things have happened to us? Oh. But anyway, I took Juno on a walk, as we do, and then I had to stop by the grocery store to pick up some things, as I often always do as well. Girlfriend wants to make soup, so I got soup accoutrements. Superments. Oh, Wolfie. That's a zombie. And I've been going, instead of going to Safeway or Kroger or the big stores, I've been going to Winco, which is, I guess, a West Coast regional thing. It's kind of like an Aldi. It's kind of like an Aldi in that they don't take credit cards. They only take cash or debit cards. But also stuff is generally better priced there than your normal grocery stores. You don't have to pay for your shopping cart. Oh, Aldi takes the cards now? Okay, I always thought Aldi didn't. I mean, I guess Costco, like, only takes Visa or something like that, right? It's kind of, honestly, Winco is kind of like a Costco for people who are too poor to pay for a Costco membership. It's not like a big box store. It's not bulk stuff. It's a normal grocery store, kind of in a warehouse setting. It is employee owned. You do have to bag your own groceries. But anyway, I've been liking going there just because the prices are better. They might not have some of like the normal like big brand. That's lava. Big brand stuff. I can recognize it a mile away. But anyway, that's beside the point. I just wanted to get some stuff for soup. It wasn't like a full-on grocery trip. It was just an accoutrement. I needed lunch meat. So I got my cart and my stuff. And I went to go check out in the self-checkout. And it also happened to be when who I will affectionately refer to as the self-checkout Mussolini was on the payroll there. Anyway, this guy, employee, stops me and says, like, oh, how many things? 15 items or less. I'm like, I got about that. And, like, I have a full cart because they don't have baskets. But I had less. Less than 20 items. And an important part of the story is that pretty much all the self-checkout lanes were open. There were like at least, there was a whole lane of them open, which was like 5 or 6, and then there was like maybe 5 more. And another weird thing about Winco is it's all like the checkouts, the normal checkouts, are always super long. Like, and I use them when I have a bunch of things, but like they're often like winding through aisles and blocking the way and stuff like that. They're like 8 to 12 people deep. And it was like that, as it always is. There's only like 3 lanes open and they're all super long. But there was nobody behind me. I had my 17 items, and it was just, I thought I was getting punked or something. All these lanes were open. And I'm like, well, what do you want to count my items? And he's like, yes. And he started counting my items. And I had 17 items. And I'm like, okay, but all these lanes are open. In the time we're doing this, I could be done with my checkout. And he's like, no, if I let you in, I have to let all of them in. And there's nobody trying to get in. I was the only one trying to get in. And I'm just like, okay, what? And I don't know. This guy, like, he was like maybe in his mid-50s. And I'm not blaming the guy. He wasn't being mean or anything. He was just taking his job super seriously. He was probably on a spectrum of some sort. Like I said, mid-50s or whatever. Taking care of the self-checkout lines. The problem is that I'm on the other side of the spectrum where now, with an awkward interaction like that, I will have to replay that for the rest of my life. In my mind. Anytime I go to a grocery store. So I had to back up out of the lane to like try to go to the normal lanes, which I said were like 12 people deep. And I'm like, I'm not going to wait half an hour in a line for my 17 items. And there was another guy at the same time who also got Mussolini'd. And he was much more upset. He's like, I'm going to speak to a manager and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. So I went back and I put 3 things back on the shelf. And then I went back to the self-checkout. And he's still there, of course. And I'm like, listen, we counted our things already. I put 3 things back on the shelf. And he was like, okay, cash or card? I'm like, card. They're ahead. But yeah, I don't know if that other, I think that other dude put stuff away and went through the self-checkout thing. I don't know if he talked to a manager or not. I feel like what probably happened is that the store had like a meeting that morning where they were kind of like telling the employees, try to make sure people going through the self-checkout line don't have more than 15 items. And like that cemented in that man's brain that he must enforce this to the rule. The self-checkout czar. I mean, yeah, it was if there was a line at the self-checkout and there were like people behind me trying to get in, I could see that maybe. Although again, taking the time to count items in people's carts instead of just eyeballing it wastes more time than you're saving. But like I said, there were like a good half a dozen to 8 open green lights, unused self-checkout spots. Nobody behind me. And, yeah.
Palette Hands gifted a tier 1 sub to Isalin. They have given 601 gift subs in the channel.
Hell Hands, thank you for the gift sub. That's the first sub resub of the day. Of the stream, at least. We had a, Magical Blob resubscribed overnight while we weren't live, which is why the number sits at 2. Yeah, it was basically a prolonged and unnecessary interaction that is now going to rot away at my brain. I mean, he was very much on autopilot, but also very much, like I said, running back and forth. Cash or credit? Okay, you go to that aisle. Cash or credit? Okay, you go to that aisle. And it was a bit much. I mean, if I was with a girlfriend, that would have been a different story. I don't know what would have happened there. Like I said, I'm not blaming this guy. The employee wasn't being mean about it. He was just being like, well, if I let you in, then I'll have to let everybody else. And he was like reciting his dogma in his head. So yeah, it's also like, okay, now I'm spending less money here. Like I'm you know, this hard policy this guy has taken is costing the company money. So yeah, that just like and then of course when I was self-checking out, the stupid self-checkout thing was like, unexpected item, red flashing light, please wait for somebody to type in their password. But then somebody else was like manning the main helm and like okayed the thing. Yeah, it's whew, that was it's more out of like awkwardness and disbelief. Like I guess I always just assume that like nobody could be taking things as seriously as they appear to be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to speculate about this person or the day they were having or what somebody told them in the morning about this that made it his life mission. I just found it to be, logically, a lot more inefficient to now force a bunch of people with 16, 17 items in their carts to stand in the lines that are already 12 people deep. With people with 60 items in their cart, or whatever. when there's fully functioning, free and open self-checkout lanes. Yeah, now I get to add that one to the list. Add it to the list of things to constantly dwell on at strange and inopportune times for the rest of your life. So that was my afternoon. Not that I'm dwelling on it. I gotta say, one of the, another one.
Palette Hands gifted a tier 1 sub to inopportune_time. They have given 602 gift subs in the channel.
I was expecting that to be spelled thyme, like the seasoning, like the spice. Thyme, TH, you know, that one. Dwelling benthos. One of the things that really, that is one of those frequent things that constantly pops up in my head is, I don't know how old I was, early 20s. Oh, like 20 years ago. I went to a concert to a band I really liked. And they were like not a super popular band, but so it was at like a small venue in Chicago. And I wanted to like buy some of their merch to support them or whatever. And like going in there, and they were the ones like selling the merch. I'm like, oh, that's neat, nice to meet you, whatever. So I'm like, give me a shirt and a CD and a poster or something. You know, I don't know what it was, but anyway, they're like tallying it up, and I was like, all right, that's gonna be like $95. And I'm like, okay. And I don't have $95 in cash, so like the blood drained from my face. And I'm like, oh, I guess take away the shirt and that thing, and I'll get that. And that was incredibly awkward, and since then I've not at all been able to enjoy that music without being thrust into a completely embarrassing memory. Yeah, to the band members, yeah. And this was 20 years ago, so before everybody had like Stripe or, you know, credit cards and stuff. It was cash transactions. Memories to last a lifetime. Yes. Something like that. Oh! I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before. It might be somewhere in the hundreds of Far Lands or Bust episodes of past, but yeah, that one still bothers me. Just because, like I said, I can't listen to the music anymore. Ruined. Completely ruined. If you want to know how my brain works. I don't know if self-checkout czar is gonna stick around as long, but it'll pop up, I'm sure. Now I'm gonna be like super freaking nervous every time I try to go to a self-checkout lane. Like mini PTSD. Aren't brains fantastic? Aren't they grand? The obvious solution is to shoplift the extra 3 items. In hindsight, I do wonder how he would have responded if I was like, oh, I don't plan on paying for all of these. Or I just like stand there and put them in my jacket pockets. There, 15 items. Indeed. So how is everybody else's weekend going? Whoa. Oh, I did get back at it again. Back in the old garage mines. The old Datsun mines. Somebody was putting on a Cars and Coffee at a racetrack nearby. And on Friday night, I mentioned it to the girlfriend and was like, oh, we should do that. You know, even if just with the hearse. But then I woke up on Saturday morning at 9, and it was like, 29 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And I'm like, I don't want to do that at all.
Me I'm stuck here? With you?
No. I'm stuck here with you. Believe me, a far worse fate.
Homokami! 91 months in the subtub. Thank you very much. Subtub! So yeah, the girlfriend was a little bit disappointed because which is a rare event for me to, like, come up with and suggest. Cream of Consciousness. That's a good username. That's a good username. Welcome. Welcome with that Amazon Prime. See? Turning off the alert means more Prime members join the subtub. Stop it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so anyway, I'm like, all right, since we didn't go out with the cars, I will work on the Datsun for like the 6th time, taking apart the front suspension. Because over the Christmas sales, I got actually a pair of stock shock mounts. If you remember the last ones, the original ones I had, I ruined. Remember the D-hole? Which I didn't even think of when I said it the first time. I found like aftermarket ones that have like adjustable camber, but I didn't realize they also lower the ride height another inch. So when I did have the car out, after I did the suspension, it had kind of a downward rake, which I didn't like. And also the adjustability of the camber. After I drove it, I noticed that it went all the way in which makes sense. If you put weight on it, that it's gonna do that. So I don't... Not my finest purchase. So anyway, so now I'm going in and putting new stock shock mounts in, which requires I disconnect everything, including the brake lines on the front suspension, so I gotta re-bleed the brakes. So I did that yesterday, and I got through one of them. I'm going to assume that it is easy because I've done it so many times, and not it's easy because I'm causing some sort of damage to the nuts and bolts, fastening and unfastening them so many times in the past year. It was dry. Yeah, that's what I was up to yesterday. In case you're curious. One of these days, I'll be able to say, that's it, I'm done, I'm not touching that car anymore. But it is not this day. And then last night, we did watch Section 31. Which is not good at all. It's a very bad video game. How bad was it? This bad. It was bad. It wasn't even like Star Trek movie bad, like new Star Trek movie bad, or like Star Trek Discovery bad. It was just like, student film bad. It was very bad. The thing I noticed that made it bad, like, that made me realize it was bad and continued to be bad, was I don't even know what it's called. There must be some sort of film photography term for it. But the zoom cuts... The Star Wars prequels used them a lot. Where, like, there's a bit of action going on, and then it zooms in on the ship, or whatever, dramatically, shaky camera style. Except that kept, like, once is like, okay, ooh, action. But they kept using that crash zoom, and then they, like, alright, ships flying around, that kind of makes sense. But then they started to use it on, like, interior, like, actor shots. Like, the actors would walk into a room, and then they'd zoom in on them, or whatever. It was really weird and bizarre. It's like it's like a quarter of the way into editing the movie, they discovered they could do that in Pro Tools, and just wouldn't stop. Yeah, it wasn't even like in moments of action. It was just like, zoom, crash zoom. Yeah, and they kept using contacts. They must have had some sponsorship or product placement with, like, costume contacts. Oh, eyes? Eye injuries? Yeah, a lot of people got stabbed in the eyes. I was talking more about the contacts. Everybody had weird contacts, and then, like, they would change halfway through to something else. I don't know what that signified, that they were, like, undercover or not, I think. But it was never explained. Oh, was it the drugs they did? That were kind of mentioned once, and then, like, there were no real effects, and it never got brought up again? Was it that? I didn't see. Weatherman gave a scathing review article. And then they had one of the characters was a shapeshifter, but he never shapeshifted throughout the, like, he did it once. And that was it. Like, other times he was just like the pilot. It's like, okay, could he not have just been a dude? When they switched it from a series to a single story, instead of rewriting it, they just threw out pages and wrote linking dialogue. Yeah, I mean... Yeah, and that was, like, during the writer's strike, I'm sure, and all this other stuff. But it's still... Yeah, it feels almost like they were just obligated. To be fair, there are some DS9 episodes where Odo doesn't shapeshift. Yeah, I don't think anybody's gonna complain if nobody refers to it as, like, any sort of Star Trek canon or anything. It's just a not good sci-fi movie is all it is. Like, there's really nothing Star Trek about it. Except for, like, the existence of a federation, which is not at all involved in the goings-ons. Really. Careful, Wolfie. And, like, the Terran mirror universe. Oh my gosh. Oh, I need beds. Yeah, and I can't remember anything about her character, Michelle Yeoh's character, in Discovery, like, before she left. I don't remember her whole deal, except she, like, kind of became a good guy, but not really. But, like, that was kind of never referenced, or just was kind of glossed over. Whoa. That's a pit.
We're just normal men.
What do you mean, normal men?
We're just innocent men.
Cream of Consciousness. Not only a brand new Prime sub in the tub, but finding new alerts that have yet to have been found. Thank you for the bits. You couldn't hear it. I could hear it fine. No, that's 200. Sorry, that's 200. That's what she said is cheaper. Indeed. $100 is no longer 8-0 to it. It is. Nothing else has changed. There never was a 300. I mean, I guess the one Star Trek reference that I got was from the original series. The half black, half painted white people. Was like her assistant in the bar or whatever. And yeah, I didn't remember. It was also set in like the Discovery Super Future Star Trek, which nobody likes. I don't know why I thought they left her back in the Strange New Worlds timeline era. Which makes me wonder, is the Academy show gonna take place in the super future? Because that's not great. It just has none of the stuff that we're familiar with and that we like about the show. You know, communicators and transporter accidents and like that sort of stuff. I guess that's their way of like making it easy for them to like not worry about timelines and storyline conflicts. But it's also, I feel like, kind of lazy. And also then just not Star Trek. Right, that I did hear that Robert Picardo, the Doctor, is going to be in it. Maybe it'll be the one who got trapped in the museum by the species who thought Voyager was evil. Or did that one get deleted? I don't remember. I do need to check my bread. How many beds do I got? I got 2 beds to check my bread. Well, I'm gonna, when I sleep this night, I'm gonna take a pause and look at it. Murder! That's a good pig. Oh, I'm watching. I'm like, I've seen movement over here. It's just a tree that's despawning. Whoa. Careful, Wolfie. I can count. Wait for me! Boink. Alright. It's bread time. Bread. So if you'll excuse me, if you're watching this VOD on YouTube, I'll probably have cut this part out. Unless I forget! Okay, BRB! Yee! Seamless transition for those of you at home. I'm assuming everybody watching on Twitch is not at home for some reason, watching from the Twitch amphitheater.
Palette Hands gifted a tier 1 sub to Preheated Oven. They have given 603 gift subs in the channel.
Preheated Oven. Preheated Oven. My favorite. I keep wanting to get an oven thermometer. Because I'm not confident that our oven actually gets the temperature that it suggests it gets to. Speaking of Prime, we are now a Prime-free household. Since the girlfriend graduated from school, he wasn't going to get the student discount anymore. And instead of keeping it, we just decided to let it cancel.
Is this hype enough?
It's not. Gotta be 100 bits or a sub to be Prime. Or to be a hype train, to be Prime. Your family gets Prime completely free. What happened? Did Jeff Bezos kill your dog or something? Alright. We're not gonna get close to that, Wolfie. Wolfie. you get Twitch Prime instead of the ability to join a union. Yeah, no, we're thinking we might try Costco instead. That's where we get the pets medications, and you get a slight discount on that, but Costco perhaps a little bit more what's the word? Humane in their political leanings. The train, y'all missed the train. You couldn't scrounge up a single gift sub. Palette Hands used all the gift subs they had for the day. What are you doing up there, Wolfie?
Timo Warner gifted a tier 1 sub to Too Late to Succeed. They have given 679 gift subs in the channel.
Thank you, Timo Warner. Why do these accounts exist? Because we've willed them into existence.
Palette Hands gifted a Tier 1 sub to Late Train. They have given 604 gift subs in the channel.
Ooh. Palathans. Thank you again.
Timo Warner gifted a Tier 1 sub to Trains for a Cause. They have
Trains for
given
a Cause.
680 gift subs in the channel.
I like trains. This big open field. Sorry, I'm trying to get like a action shot for the thumbnail for Wolfie. Zoom! Crash zoom! Crash zoom! Get the pig? I don't need no pigs. The Volvo's making a new noise. And it's not that.
Timo Warner gifted a Tier 1 sub to I Don't Need No Hype.
Don't
They
need
have
no
given
hype.
681 gift subs in the channel.
Whoa. Volvo go flop, 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 flop. No, it's more of a clanka, 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 clanka. I'm not sure what it is. I still, since having bought it, have not had a chance or space to, like, get it up on jack stands and actually take a good look at it. But it's weird, it's like when I'm kind of half coasting, but maybe like have 10%. Like just a gentle throttle.
Timo Warner gifted a Tier 1 sub to Clanka Clanka. They have given 682 gift subs in the channel.
Clanka clanka! That's a car, alright. I mean, already the Volvo is like a completely different animal underneath than the cars I'm used to. I don't even know where to put the jack stands. I don't think it's the transmission, because I put it in neutral while coasting, whoa, to a parking spot the other day, and it was still making the noise. It doesn't sound like anything internal, it sounds like external. It almost could be like an exhaust hanger that's loose or something like that. Yeah. But it is weird that it only happens like below 30 miles an hour. And when I'm like under, not full or even half throttle, but just like a little bit of like speed maintaining throttle. Cat's going bad. Oh, they're already bad, these cats. These cats in this household. No, I mean, I don't know that that would make a noise. Unless it is loose. Beepers. Interesting. I don't even know how you would diagnose that. Did it, like, also make your car kind of, like, stutter at idle? If your catalytic converter... That's the noise it makes. Ah, interesting. Oh, Wolfie Juno. Alright, because mine has sort of done that. But with that, I changed the air filter and I cleaned the MAF sensor. And that's mostly helped, but it still happens every once in a while. It's like it can't keep the RPMs up. But that's interesting. And unfortunate. I don't know how much those cost to replace. Huh. Well, thank you, I am Dan. I didn't I didn't even consider that. Thought maybe it was like some sort of clamp that was loose or off and rattling. Or like some sort of suspension part. Like a sway bar link or something like that. Yeah, $1,000. Hopefully it's less than... I don't know that it might only have one. I don't know that it has multiple cats. I'd have to look that up. My timer's going off. The oven is possibly preheated. That's fine. That's fine. We can finish this one out. We can get to the end here. We'll just give my bread additional time to rise. Rise! I should have kept that boat. Just maybe gone around this island. Didn't realize it was an island. Well, what's weird is that it doesn't happen if I'm, like, in park and I give it gas. It's only while I'm driving. And only, like I said, under 30 miles an hour. Added to the list, though, of possibilities. What else? Anybody else having car troubles? Can we diagnose from a distance? Your car trouble is that you don't have one. You keep having flat tires? You should go over your driveway with a magnet to make sure there aren't any nails. Careful of a. Same tire goes flat every 24 hours. That sounds like it's a problem with the rim. I mean, that's what they told me about the Volvo, is my left front was losing air, so I brought it in thinking it had a hole. But they told me that the rim is actually corroded on the bead, but they like resealed it and it's held ever since. Which is somewhat annoying because I spent $300 on a new set of rims from somebody on Craigslist thinking I would have to change them, but the ones I have been working now. You gotta take it into a like a Les Schwab. Do you guys have a Les Schwab around you? Tire center? They have fixed many flats for me for free. Even though I've never like bought a tire from them. Super service. Oh, get punched, microphone. I did just put a bunch of air in the Subaru. Because I haven't checked it since it got cold and the girlfriend's been driving it up to the mountains to ski and stuff. It was low. There he is. The hose on my tire pump broke off. I was very deflated. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. Look at that thing. Oh. I did it. I'm up here. I wish that mountain. I wish that mountain wasn't in the way of this mountain I'm trying to take a picture of. The cloud. No, that happened to me once at my previous job. Because I got like a flat tire while my car was in the parking lot. So across the street was like a AutoZone or something, so I bought like their cheapest pump. Air pump. And I went to attach it to the valve stem, and the thumb thing was made of just plastic, and it busted. And so I couldn't seal the valve, the inflator to the valve. So I went back and said, this thing broke. I tried to use it and it broke. So they just exchanged it to me. For me. And I was able to put enough air in the tire to get home and then deal with it later. Ooh. Make way for the gap of Rohan. We have fun here. Where's my torch? Beep beep. Oh. Alright. Wolfie's sitting. Heady hole secure. Do that thing. Oh. Got enough boats. My pickaxe is about to die, but we'll deal with that when we need to deal with it. Go to sleep, back up the world, and I gotta go put my bread in the oven. $73,211.09 megabytes.